Hello. Whew. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're live. Let me know you've come for Frequency the Shift. Hey, Mama. Hey, Tamala. Ladies. Hey, Gumpy, can you settle down? He's so excited. He can't settle down. Hi, Mary. I'm so glad you're here live. Okay, so I am going to give it a second. And then we're going to start talking about frequency and shifting our frequency and holding our frequency and becoming a vibrational alignment for our desires. That's the conversation today. And I'm going to be sharing a really profoundly powerful system or process that I use personally. And just to give you a little backstory, playing with energy, mastering frequency, and manifestation has been the greatest gift and the greatest struggle of my life. Hey, Michelina. Hey, guys. So glad to have you here. Yeah, the greatest gift and the greatest struggle of my life, right? And often that's where the best gifts come from, right? Is through the struggle. So I have been wanting to share and wanting to understand the manifestation process that I use for many, many years now. And if you don't know my history or my background, I've worked with some really high caliber, really magical mentors, specifically in the area of manifestation, co-creation, and on my spiritual journey as well as my business journey. And I have tried their processes many times to limited success, right? There's always been a benchmark that I could get to, but I couldn't move beyond, I couldn't hold. And for a long time, I thought, it's just something that's wrong with me, right? And I want you guys to pop in the comments if you've experienced something similar. If you have, whether it's been with a direct mentor or you've read a book or whatever it is, if you have had the experience of trying to use someone's manifestation process with limited results, right? With limited ability to maintain it, with limited physical results in your reality. If you've experienced that, let me know in the comments. And if you're live, obviously let me know in the comments now and we can go deeper in that. If you're watching the replay, please let me know in the comments so I can see and witness you, and then share, right? Share what it's been like for me as well. So because these women, yeah, okay, definitely, yep. So because these women, and primarily my mentors have been women in this particular journey in my life, because these mentors of mine had wild success and they were sharing these like step-by-step processes, and I was in environments and in communities where this stuff was working for people, what actually inadvertently ended up happening is I started to think that there was something inherently wrong with me, right? Why couldn't I do the thing that other people were doing? And I was feeling that, and the duality of it is I was feeling that and I was seeing that, but I was also seeing tons of other people in this community who were struggling with these processes or these ways of doing it or ways of being. And so the duality was I was seeing a few people have wild, amazing results, but the majority of people were having limited results, right? And when I say limited results, that can vary, but it means that I and these people that were having similar experiences weren't experiencing this like wild ability to manifest whatever they wanted, right? Whether that was financial success or career success or relationships or health or whatever it was, right? There were limitations on how these processes were actually working. Hey, Jeannie, I'm so glad you made it. So how these processes were actually working. So the duality of it was that I was feeling like there's something wrong with me, right? If this process works for this woman or these women and they're having wild results and I am not, like I am following the process and I am not hitting my goals, right? I'm doing okay, but I'm not hitting these like crazy goals that I'm setting, right? And the whole point here is that you can literally manifest whatever you desire. And my desires are big, right? My desires are big. And so while I was doing well, and in a lot of ways some would look at me and think I was doing better than other people. It's just a scale of whether or not you're actually hitting the desires that you have. You're receiving the desires that you have, that you're creating the desires that you have. And I wasn't, right? And so through this journey, I was feeling this duality of like, there must be something wrong with me because it's worked for them and it's not working for me. But also on the other hand, I was seeing that the majority of people weren't having the results that the mentors and a small group of people were. Okay. And so I was noticing this duality, and there was a part of me that was because I internalized everything. There was a part of me that was thinking, okay, well, I'm doing something wrong. But then there was another part of me that was going, but not all of these people can be wrong. Right. If it was simply me doing something wrong, then that's fine. I would figure out how to fix that. But the fact that it was the majority that wasn't having the experience of this is wildly successful and easy. And of course, it just works like this. Because what I believe to be true is that if the process is the thing, right, then it should work for a majority. And that is not always the case when we're talking about manifestation processes or processes in general, right? And so over the last few years, I have been looking at, so again, let me know in the comments if you've tried someone's manifestation process and it has had limited results for you. Let me know I'm not alone in this, right? So over the years, I have been deeply committed to figuring out what's going on, right? And deep diving into not only creating the life that I desire, but yeah, Jeannie, me too. Okay, perfect. So not only creating the life I desire and mastering my own manifestation game and my own co-creation game, it's been about how do I do this? Okay, yeah, perfect. I'm not alone. Good. It's been about being able to bring something to the world or to people like me who have experienced this in a way that actually works for the majority, right? Will it work for everyone? It's going to depend on where you are on your journey, but I'm really convinced that bringing something to market or something to creation or something to life that will work for the majority. And so a lot of when I first started learning about manifestation, right, a lot of it was about mindset, right? Thinking different thoughts, rewiring your mind, right? Using mantras, using affirmations, journaling, writing, all of this stuff around changing your mind. But here's what I found. It's really hard to just change your mind, right? It's really hard to just change your mind unless you start seeing physical evidence right away that convinces your mind. It's because your mind is the hardest level to change, I believe, okay? And I believe the reason that is because the thoughts you're thinking are just a symptom of a larger root cause, okay? The thoughts are the last thing in the creation train, really. And so you're basically like trying to change your mind. And so that's like, let me think of an analogy that would work here. It's like if you had like this is going to be horrible, so I'm sorry if this triggers anyone, but if you had like a brain tumor and you were taking ibuprofen because you had a headache, right? The ibuprofen might take away the pain of the headache for a while, but you're not dealing with the root cause of where the headache came from. And that's what we're talking about here. It's like, I'm sorry I couldn't think of a better, nicer, happier analogy, but that's the one that came to me. So trying to change your thoughts is like here dealing with the symptoms, but never dealing with the root, right? And so when we start to think about, so I started diving into like energy work and understanding energy, and like, I knew that I wasn't changing my thoughts using these like journaling processes and rewriting processes and all that stuff. And it just I felt like I was in this fight with my thoughts, right? And I just said to myself, like, this can't be the only way. This can't be the only way to do this. So what I started to do was think about what would I need to believe the thoughts that I was trying to create, right? That I was trying to believe. What would I need to be able to believe them? And for me, I'm a very like visceral physical person. And so I realized like if I could feel it in my body, then that would help me believe it. Okay. If I could see it in my reality, obviously that would help me believe it. But that was proving difficult because I didn't believe it. Right. And so I kind of got on this like, okay, so I need to feel it in my body. I need to feel it. And when you start diving into manifestation, the emotions, the feelings are like the juice that creates it happening. So not only would these change my thoughts, but this was actually the part that really mattered in the manifestation of the thing that I wanted, right? Being able to feel like I had it, being able to feel all of the stuff in my body. And so I started playing with energy and, you know, I went really deep. I did some crazy things, right? Like I went on a 9-day ayahuasca retreat. I'm a certified quantum healer. Like I went and did all of this energy work, but it wasn't until later that I started to see like, oh, but I can actually, play with the physical energy, right? The actual energy. So everything is energy, right? Including your thoughts, including the things that you're looking to create. Everything is energy and you are energy. So if the thoughts are a symptom, right? If they're just like at the end of the train, but they are also energy, it only makes sense that if we change the energy within us, it will automatically change the thoughts. Okay. So I started to ask, first of all, like, I want the awareness of what's going on. When I manifest something and I shift my being and I'm able to feel it and be it and know it, and then it shows up in my reality, I want to know how I'm doing that so that I can share it with others, right? Because I knew that I was doing this, but I didn't understand the actual steps for how I was doing it. Okay. And so over the last, probably since May, maybe longer, but I'm going to guess since May, I've really been in deep inquiry around how do I do this? Not just for myself, because there are things that I've been trying to manifest that I haven't manifested. So I want to know the steps that I'm doing when it is actually working, right? But also in a way that I could share it, in a way that would be understandable and usable for the majority. And I think the only thing that would make it unusable for someone is if they couldn't find their way to actually doing it, right? So you have to apply the steps. You have to do it consistently. And I know we're not always in a place where we believe that it'll work. And so showing up committed to that, like that's actually been a problem for me at times. And so if you apply the steps that I'm going to teach you, it will work. It will work. But it won't work if you don't do it, right? Like that's the thing. And I think that's an important distinction. And everybody's journey is perfect and wonderful, and you can do whatever you want with this. But I'm sharing this because I understand what it feels like to so badly want to shift your reality and feel like it's not working, right? And so hopefully this helps. Hopefully it helps. All right, I need a drink of water. Trying to think if there's any other backstory I want to share with you before I share the process itself. No, I don't think so. Okay, so because your energy has a frequency, right? And at any point, anything you desire has a frequency. But the thing is, it's not about the frequency of the thing that I'm interested in. It's the frequency of having. Okay? It's the frequency of having. So let's say that you want, I'm going to use money as an example because it's really simple, right? Let's say that you want $100,000 a month, right? And Jeannie and I were just having this conversation yesterday. Let's say that you want the $100,000, right? You want $100,000 a month. So I have been taught in the past that there's a specific frequency for $100,000 a month. That also did not work for me. What I believe and know to be true now is that there is a frequency of having. Okay? There's something that happens when you have something, or when you're so convinced or not against having it that you're just in the frequency of allowing it to happen. Sorry, I got an itchy ear. Right? So it's this idea of I'm in a certain frequency when I'm aligned with the thing, and that is the frequency of having it. Okay? Now, yeah, right? This was such an epiphany for me because I was like, oh, wait, I have been trying to match the frequency of the thing I desire. And actually, what I need is that when I think of the thing that I desire, that I am automatically in a frequency of having it. That's where the magic is. That's where the door opens for the thing to rush into your physical reality, right? So when I think about $100,000 a month right now, I am not in a frequency of having it. Okay. Now, and I'm going to go into, because I don't want to get stuck on dollar amounts, because there's a frequency of overflow, which is actually the thing that I'm working on, right? And this is, I think, unlocks a lot. So we'll talk about that. If I forget, remind me towards the end to come back to this idea of like the frequency of overflow when it comes to financial success or love or whatever it is. Yeah, it's hard for us to believe it because we're trying to believe it, where instead of being in the frequency of having it, okay? And this is where I struggled, right? You can think about the thing and not believe it because you're just trying to believe it and trying to believe it and trying to believe it. And this is all of the mindset work, right? It's like, how do I make myself believe it? Well, I journal on it 1,000,000 times until I believe it. Or, I rewrite my story or I do these things, and that's awesome. But if at the core of it, you're not in the frequency of that belief, right? Then it's really slow and painful to rewrite the story of I believe it. So instead, here's what I want to do. I'm going to walk you guys through the process instead of explaining it. Okay. So if you're in a safe place, and you can close your eyes, do that with me. If you can't, you can always come back and do this later. Just do whatever you can. Obviously, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. So here's what I want you to do. I just want you to allow your consciousness to drop from your head into your heart. Now, if you've never done this before, you can tap on your chest. When you tap somewhere, you automatically bring your awareness there, right? So come to this space of like, in my heart space. We think our consciousness is here in our mind. It's not. You can move it wherever you want. It's separate from the mind. So when you're in your heart, I just want you to be present in your body. And feel your body. Now I want you to start to notice the energy. So you may feel like a buzzing in your fingertips or like a racing in your heart. It doesn't matter how it feels. Just notice the sensations in your body. Because your entire body is made up of energy. So when you become present in this space, you can feel the energy in your body. Hey, Cindy, just walking you through the process. So just feeling this energy in your body. Just noticing it. This is step 1, right? Noticing that our bodies are completely energy. And that we can actually feel the energy when we're present in the moment, when we're in our heart space. So again, you can tap on your chest to bring you into your heart, out of your racing mind, into your heart. Breathing into your heart and just feeling those sensations, that energy. Right? That's step 1. And if you've never done energy work, step 1 is where you can practice for a while, right? Just give yourself throughout the day to feel the energy in your body and start to notice the sensations. Allow yourself time throughout the day to come into your heart, come out of your head, feel what's true for you in your heart, right? That's step 1. Then, and if you've already been practicing with this or you want to move on, step 2 is playing with it, right? It's playing with the different energies. So what does that look like? So again, you're here in your heart, you're feeling the energy. I want you to think of something that makes you happy, right? So you're here in your heart, you're feeling the energy. Think of something that makes you happy. and watch what happens. Notice what happens, right? What is the energy of happy for you? So like, if I think about myself walking along the beach, that's very peaceful for me. I notice that my heart rate slows down a bit. Now I'm going to think about something that makes me excited, or that would get my blood pumping. Okay, so what if I was at the top of a roller coaster, about to take the plunge over, which by the way is not my favorite thing. So my heart start racing. I notice my energy levels going up, right? There are all these things that you can play with. I think about my husband. I feel safe. Right? The thoughts that I'm thinking are safety, love, laughter. Right? Steve's my safe place. He's the place I feel the safest, the most like myself, the most supported and loved and nurtured, the most like anything is possible. That's the energy of being in that space with my husband. Feeling a little gratitude right now. I'm feeling a little bit like I might cry. So this is the playing with it, right? This is the, and I'm going through this really quickly. If you guys at the end of this want to go deeper into this, this is something that we're doing in depth inside of Business on Purpose, right? But I'm going through it a little bit quickly because obviously for time's sake and all of that stuff. And of course I'm going to post this recording so you can play with this as much as you want. So that's playing with the frequency, right? That's playing with the frequency, being present in your body, allowing yourself to feel the frequency, to feel the vibration, to feel, you know, the feelings in your body of what it feels like when you put yourself in each of those places. Okay. And for you, they might be different. You know, I did a thing the other day, a recording for Inside of Business on Purpose, where I used my dog as the example and went into that, right? So you can use these different things to let you feel what the vibration feels like, what the frequency feels like when you're in that place. So when I think about Steve and I take myself to that place, I know what the feeling of having it feels like. And I know what the feeling of having it with peace and with freedom and with support and with love and with flow. So Steve for me is my ideal example of what it feels like, right? To have something that nourishes my soul, that makes me feel limitless, that allows me to take on anything I want, to feel safe, to have my desires, because he is my space of safety and freedom and support and love and nurturing. Now, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, I won't call you out, but if you want to say it was you, that's fine, who was talking about how they didn't have that in another person, but they had it within themselves. That is perfect, right? That is perfect. For me, it's easy to conjure this feeling with Steve because that is what I feel with him, right? Wherever it is for you, whatever it is for you, you get to use that, okay? Now, if we talk about the feeling of having it and you want to talk about, so back to our example of like $100,000 a month where we're using money as the example, you could use the frequency, you could get clear on the frequency of having it around money by looking at a dollar amount that actually feels done to you, right? Something you're actually physically experiencing every month. You can feel that frequency of having it. Now, the only caveat to that is if you have weirdness around money, around what you have to do to get it, then you might be tapping into some other stuff. That's why I used Steve as my example, because I have it and it feels good and it feels easy and it feels safe and it's supported and all of that good stuff, right? So your job in this is to notice what's there for you, to tap into that frequency for you, to tap into the frequency if you want. So if I say I want $100,000 a month, I don't want it from struggle and strife and doing the hard thing. I want it to feel like what I feel like when I'm with my husband. I want it to feel that easy, that flowy, that fun, that giggly, that happy, right? Because Steve and I have a relationship at this point that fulfills me on so many levels. And I want my money, my experience with money to feel like that. So even though I could go and look at $100,000 a year and know what that feels like, because I've done that more than once, right? I've done multiple hundreds of thousands more than once, right? I could look at the frequency of that. That's not the experience I want money to have for me anymore, Because when I did that, I wasn't in a place of fun, flowy, exciting, love, safe, supported, all of the good stuff that I feel in my relationship. So I choose Steve as my anchoring frequency, as the frequency in our relationship, right? Not just Steve himself, but our relationship. I choose that as the anchoring frequency because it allows me, it not only is it the frequency of having it, but it's the frequency of having it through fun, flow, ease, excitement, passion, play, laughter, giddiness, all of that stuff, safety, right? And this is the stuff that you get to play with for yourself, okay? So that's step 2, is just playing with it and getting aware of, like, I can't go into all the nuances here, but getting aware of it, playing with it, recognizing it in you, finding your safe space, finding the piece of having it that feels good to you in some way. And then step 3 is we take that anchoring frequency that is the vibe that we want, right? Around the thing that we want. We take that from wherever we found it and we copy paste it onto the desires that we haven't yet experienced or aren't experiencing now and want them. And we copy and paste that frequency onto that thing, right? So what does that look like? So it looks like taking the frequency, feeling in my body what it feels like to be in my relationship with my husband, feeling that flow, noticing what's happening in my body, okay? It's not just about the thoughts that we're thinking or the emotions that we're feeling. It's noticing the energy, the frequency that's in my physical body when I am in the space of my relationship. And copying and pasting that onto the desire. And it's consciously thinking about the desire, noticing the frequency in my body, which is not a match to having it. It's not a match to the same thing that I'm experiencing in my relationship with my husband. If it was, I would already be experiencing that, right? And then consciously taking my body, my frequency, my energy to the space of my relationship while thinking about the thing that I desire. Okay? And when I do this, and I do it over and over and over and over and over again, however long it takes. I do it throughout the day. I do it every time I think about the thing I desire. I come back to the feeling in my body of what it feels like to be in my relationship and knowing that the thing I desire exists in this frequency and doing this as often as I need to. Until that desire and that frequency are one. I'm not rewiring my thoughts. I'm not trying to convince myself I think the thing is mine. All I'm doing is adjusting my frequency with the thought of the desire. Adjusting my frequency, thought of the desire. Adjusting my frequency, thought of the desire. And it can't help but be mine. Because through this frequency work, through this repetitive frequency work, I'm changing the frequency of the desire. Let me rephrase that. I'm changing my frequency around the desire. I'm changing my frequency around the desire to one of just already having it because I feel safe, because it's mine, because of course. And then it can't help but be mine. Because I'm in the frequency of having it around the desire. Is this making sense? There's a couple more steps, but this is the majority of it. Let me know if this is making sense to you guys or if you have questions. So good, Jeannie. It's so freaking good. Yes. Okay. So you just keep doing that. And this is the part in the beginning where I was like, this works for everyone. I'm sure it will work for everyone, right? This is the way it works. But it only works when we do it, right? Like, and I find myself even now, there are things that I desire that I'm not doing the work around because the desire isn't big enough yet, right? So that's fine too. But it works. It works and it's repeatable, right? It's repeatable. Okay, so you've adjusted and matched the frequency of the thing. And when you're first starting to do this, I would just pick a thing, right? Like pick a thing and play with it. Get to know, because a big part of this process is knowing what it feels like in your body, knowing what it feels like to you, right? What are your safe places? What are your having it frequencies feel like? Okay. Now, while you're doing this work, you're going to have the physical proof that it's not yours, right? If it was yours, you would stop doing the work because it would be done. Okay, so how do you hold the frequency in the face of it not working, right? Because this is what happens, right? We get all up in our minds. Our minds are like, but it's not working, but it's not working, but it's not working. You simply hold the frequency. And when you have a doubt, you come back to this work and you copy and paste it, and you copy and paste it, and you copy and paste it. And for some things, this will be almost instant. And for other things, it'll take a while. It doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter. The timing really does not matter. And even when the timing matters, the timing doesn't matter. Let go of the timing, because the timing is going to freak you out. Right? So just coming back to the feeling of what it feels like to already have the thing and sitting in that until you start to notice. And I want you to pay attention and start to notice how much easier it gets. Notice how much easier it gets. Notice the shift in you. Notice the shift in the way you feel. Notice it working. The more that you can notice it working, the faster it works, right? Because noticing it working is just reaffirming that it's working, right? And then your thoughts and your frequency and everything have to get on board with it working, right? Notice it working. Hold the frequency of it. Continue to hold the frequency of it until it's just done. Don't quit. Don't quit on your desires. Don't quit on your dreams. Don't quit on the things, right? Those desires are just realities you haven't lived yet. Okay? So don't quit on them. Continue to come back to this frequency until it just is, right? And if you have a thought that it's not working, come back to the frequency. Do the frequency work. Go back to step 3. Do it again and again and again. And pretty soon it just is. That's just it. It's just is. Yeah, it's total fire. Woo! You are a tuning fork is the thing that comes to mind. I honestly don't even know that much about tuning forks, but you are the tuning fork, right? Your body is the tuning fork. You can tell the frequency of things through your body. This is not some outside thing where you just have to take it on faith until it's done. You could freaking feel it in your body. Use your body as that. Yeah. As the thing that lets you feel the truth, right? Unlike trying to rewire your mind, unlike trying to rewrite your beliefs, where you just have to keep doing it and doing it, even though you're like, I don't believe that, I don't believe that. This, you can actually feel the difference in your body. You can bring yourself to that place of safety, of receiving, of having, of knowing, of all the things, right? All right, who's got questions? Anyone have questions? Let's see if there's anything else that wants to come through. Like I said, we're going to go way deeper into this inside of Business on Purpose, because this is such an epic thing to create your desires, right? Well, this slide was much better than yesterday's. Yesterday's was a hot mess because I was not feeling well, but there was still some good nuggets in there. All right, my loves, if we don't have any questions, let's see what is left to say before we wrap this up. You deserve to live your desires. And your desires are simply realities you haven't lived yet. That's it, man. That's it. They're not things there to torture you or tempt you or whatever. Play with the frequencies, love on yourself, do the thing, bring it all back to you. Recognize that within yourself, you can do this. It all comes from within, right? And you have the skills and the ability to do this work. This is exactly what your body is built for. This is exactly what you're built for, right? This is not some outside thing that you have to have and not work, right? Oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. I want you all to have a beautiful day. If you are watching the replay, please hashtag replay. Let me know that you watched it. If you have questions, you know where to find me. I'm getting ready to drop a bunch of links in my profile for some free stuff that I've got. If you guys want that, keep an eye on that. And if you want to come join us inside of Business on Purpose, or you want to learn more about it, let me know. It's a 6-month incubator that has everything you need, the energetics, all of the stuff that we've been talking about, but also the mechanics, because I believe the mechanics is the place, building a place for your creations to land so your system doesn't freak out. A beautiful community. There are price points for every budget. So if you want to grow your business over the next 6 months and you want to do it through all of the magic that I have to offer, and you want to do it with a community that's walking alongside of you, that literally believes in your success and can't wait to celebrate with you, reach out, let me know, and we will do that together. Jeannie, I love you. Cindy, I love you. Everyone else who's live or watched the recording, I love you too. Have a beautiful rest of your day, you guys. Mwah.